Good afternoon, Onefootballers, and welcome back to another week of our European Power Rankings. This is where we take the top 10 players from around Europe and put them into some sort of list for you every single week. But for those of you who are new around here, this is how it works. Each player will be judged over their last 5 games, meaning that if one player didn't have a particularly good weekend, but they still have pretty good form in the last 5, they may just keep their place. And if your favourite player had a worldie at the weekend, but didn't really play very well in the previous 4, then they probably won't be in there. That's how it works, so let's jump straight into it with our winners and losers of the week. First off, to the winners, and it's every single player from Manchester United and Ajax. I know this isn't a team ranking, it's a player rankings. However, every single player plus the substitutes came on deserve massive credit for turning around their respective ties in the Champions League. And for the losers of the week, it's Thilo Kehrer and Gianluigi Buffon. Both of them from PSG, and both of them made horrible mistakes to allow Manchester United back into the tie. Romelu Lukaku was the beneficiary of both of these chances, and well, they deserve to be losers of the week. But before we jump into this week's top 10, let's have a quick look at last week's table, where Marc-Andre ter Stegen was sitting in at number 10, representing all of the goalkeepers in the top 10. Wonder kid from Ajax, Frenkie de Jong, was also in there, along with AC Milan's Krzysztof Piątek, and the top 3 was pretty much the top 3 best players in the world, with Cristiano Ronaldo behind Kylian Mbappe, with Lionel Messi in number 1. Okay, let's start with number 10, because that's what we start with every week, and it's Robert Lewandowski. In the last few weeks, he's had a few decent games that hasn't really been on the score sheet. However, over the weekend, he managed to get 2 goals in their 5-1 victory over Gladbach, taking his current tally in the last 5 games to 3 goals and 1 assist. So the Bayern Munich forward just about manages to make it into the top 10. Not gonna lie, from about 10 to 15, it was incredibly close, so he just clings on to his spot. In at number 9 this week, and yet again, it's Joel Matip. I think this is the 3rd week in a row he's been in at number 9. He's not necessarily doing anything spectacular to climb up the table, but what he is doing is a solid defensive display with a few clean sheets along the way. He's actually been leapfrogged by his defensive partner this week, but we'll come on to that more in a minute. As for Matip, he's put in some brilliant displays, and another clean sheet against Everton at the weekend sees him stay in at number 9. It's just a shame that his attacking teammates couldn't do their job. Into number 8, and it's last week's number 4 in Luis Suarez. And this may seem a little harsh that he's dropped a few places. However, a lot of other teams and players have had an extra game in midweek to pick up more power rankings points. As for Luis Suarez, where he's still got in the last 5 games that fantastic goal against Sevilla and the goals he scored against Real Madrid. However, in the Clasico on Saturday night, he didn't actually do much despite his team winning 1-0, so he drops a few places. Now in at number 7, and we mentioned him a little bit earlier alongside Joel Matip, and here he is, it's Virgil van Dijk. In the last 5 games, Van Dijk has only missed 1 of them, and that was because of suspension against Bayern Munich. However, in the other 4, he's been unbelievable and managed to keep clean sheets in every single one of them. As mentioned before, if Liverpool could finish up top, they'd be in a much stronger position and maybe wouldn't have given up their position at the top of the Premier League. However, as for Van Dijk, the guy's just an absolute rock, and he's probably been the signing of the season, even though he was signed last January. That's how good he's been. It doesn't even make sense, but he's bloody brilliant. Van Dijk deservedly sits in at number 7 on this spot, and if he can continue to do the right things at the back, he may move up even further. Number 6 is a player whose contribution to Ajax's victory at Real Madrid cannot be understated. However, it's this, alongside his form in the last 5 games, which sees him sitting pretty at number 6. Hakim Ziyech managed 2 goals against Real Madrid, 1 in the first leg, 1 in the second leg, and has 4 goals and an assist in his last 5 games. Some brilliant form from the Moroccan, and he deservedly takes his spot. But alongside this, keep an eye out for one of his Ajax teammates a little bit higher up in the power rankings. Okay, moving into number 5, and much like Luis Suarez, it's someone who has the overall form in the last 5 games to thank for them staying inside the power rankings. It's Suarez's teammate, it's last week's number 1, it's Lionel Messi. Now, of course, goals and assists aren't everything in this power rankings list, there's also how they played in the game in general. However, for an attacker, goals and assists are obviously pretty important. And the fact that Messi didn't have a direct hand in any of the 4 that Barcelona scored against Real Madrid last week in the 2 games means that he drops a few places on this list and sits in at number 5. Number 5, coincidentally, is where Lionel Messi unbelievably finished in last year's Ballon d'Or ratings. I know I'm saying that and he's in number 5 in these power rankings, but trust me, the power rankings are way more reliable than the Ballon d'Or will be. Now, number 4 is someone who I definitely wouldn't have put anywhere near the top 10 of the power rankings, considering their form at Chelsea in the first half of the season. However, Since moving to Atletico Madrid, Alvaro Morata has turned things around. Maybe all he needed was a bit of tough love from Diego Simeone. Whatever happened, it's worked because he's got 3 goals in his last 5 games, plus an assist, and has been on absolute fire for Atleti. Morata sits in at number 4, and who knows, if he keeps up this goal scoring, he may even be able to break into the top 3. I'm pretty pleased actually that he's managed to turn things around after his footballing career in the last 18 months pretty much just became one big meme. Okay, into the top 3 next, and we have one of the 3 deadly strikers that are making Eintracht Frankfurt one of the most entertaining teams in Europe this season. They've been banging goals left, right and centre, and after scoring 2 against Shakhtar Donetsk, helping his team to a 3-0 victory over Hanover, and then banging 2 more in the 3-2 victory over Hoffenheim at the weekend, Sebastian Haller is one of the most informed strikers in Europe this season. Now, whilst all the talk is about his teammate Luka Jovic making a big money move at the end of the season, many teams could probably do well in going for his teammate Haller and picking up a fantastic striker, probably for a cheaper price. So finally, we come to the last 2 in this week's power rankings, but as always, I'm going to set out the stall for one and the other, and then finally give you the decisive information about who will be sitting atop of the tree this week. First up, and we have Dusan Tadic. Now, it's one of the best performances that the Bernabeu has ever seen since Ronaldinho was applauded by the home crowd over a decade ago. With his skill, his creativity, his vision, and his quality in the final third, Dusan Tadic put in an unbelievable performance for Ajax as they beat Real 4-1. But you already know that by now. He contributed with a goal and 2 assists and was just generally outstanding. Now, for those of you who say, Matt, how can he get in on just one performance? Well, he's not. It's his last 5 games that have been brilliant. You guys just may not watch the Eredivisie too closely. Before, when I've put in a few of him or his Ajax teammates, everyone's always said, yeah, Matt, but they're playing in a farmers league, there's no competition, this and that. Well, I hope this week has proved you all wrong. Clearly, the test in the Eredivisie is enough for Ajax to prepare themselves to go to the Bernabeu and pull off such a fantastic victory. It is well deserved from Dusan Tadic, and with 4 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 games, he is well and truly in the running for first spot. So there's one contender for the top spot, and the other is Romelu Lukaku. The rejuvenated striker has actually benefited from the fact that Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial have picked up injuries in the last few weeks. Martial is still out whilst Rashford is back. However, Lukaku has taken his form from right wing, which pretty much started in the FA Cup game against Arsenal, and taken it into a more central role. The big Belgian striker has 6 goals in his last 3 games. That's 3 braces in a row. For those of you who don't know, a brace is when you score 2 goals. It's between 1 and a hat-trick. Anyways, that is unbelievable form for Lukaku, and to be honest, he could have had 2 hat-tricks in a row had his teammates not taken the penalties off him. Paul Pogba took a penalty off him against Southampton, and Rashford took it off him last night as they managed to squeeze past PSG. But we already know about that, and Lukaku's fine form sees him as a deserved contender for the number 1 spot. So, who will it be? So, before revealing the number 1 for this week, just to let you know, guys, you can leave all your thoughts in the comment section below on this week's power rankings. Who would you have had as number 1? Who would you have had in the top 10? And which player am I definitely missing out on who's been in fantastic form over the last 5 games? Of course, while you're at it, you can also smash the like button, hit the notification button if you're new around here, and join me every single Thursday for another week of the power rankings. So, the moment you've all been waiting for, who is at number 1? It's Romelu Lukaku. The Manchester United forward has definitely deserved it, and Dusan Tadic also brings in some brilliant form to sit in as runner-up. See you guys next week.